Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's AD, this is my garage, and behind the garage door is my driveway. I've got a new car again, something else to tinker with. The Twingo went last year, maybe the year before, last year. I sold the Porsche last weekend and I've had this car for the last nearly 2 months. Not done anything to it as of yet. It's got a few little bits and bobs done to it, nothing major, nothing really performance improving. So yeah, I'm gonna open up the garage. You can see the latest project build daily car. I'm gonna give it a quick service, just basics: oil filter, gearbox oil, and our inspector plugs, and yeah, there you have a quick look. I wasn't really sure whether I should blog about this one. I have no idea where I'm actually going to go with it. It'd be great to have a map on there at a minimum. It definitely needs a few bits and bobs to make it perform better, but that could be just down to me missing the Twingo, which had a lot of performance. So it's a very, very good car. Yeah, I'll let you have a quick look. Be easier if I just show you, wouldn't it? Here we have it. A Mark IV Clio RS. So it comes with a 1600 turbo engine, 6-speed EDC gearbox, dual clutch thingy. So far, so yeah, one of the first things I did was lower it on some Cook Sport springs. Other than that, it needs some new tyres, a bit of a refurb on the wheels, and we're good to start going with it really. And we're good to start modifying. But first off, some maintenance. So we've got the car jacked up. On the ramps, we've got a jack under one side and we've got an axle stand under there. Also got the rear wheel propped to make sure that the car can't move. Safety first. So I've had a quick look. I'm going to have to take the under tray off. It looks like there's an access hole in there for the oil, but I won't be able to get to the gear stick, and I can't see how I can get to the oil filter without taking it off. To be fair, I'm not even sure whether the filter's at the front or the back of the engine. So we'll get under there, we'll try and get everything removed, and then we'll have another look. It also looks like there's some panels that go here that are missing. There's one both sides. It looks like possibly access for fog lights or something. No idea, to be honest. This was a very awkward way of doing it. If you're doing this at home, take this off completely. I'm assuming there's 2 bolts at the back. Also, if you've got ramps, move them out to the left, so you can, if you want to do it this way, you can lay the tray down. Yeah. How tight do we reckon that oil filter is going to be? coming. It's tight, very tight. What knobheads? Revisit that in a minute. New filter on. So we've got the new filter here. You can see it's sealed up. What I'm going to do is pre-fill it with oil so that it's already got oil in there before we do the first start up, and wang it back on. I've opted to go for just some Elf Sporty. Yeah, that's what they call it, Elf Sporty 9. It's pretty cheap because I plan to do another service on it in another month or two, just because it was, you know, I don't trust garages too much. Because I don't trust garages too much. So yeah, take the oil filter, just fill it up with oil. Great thing on this engine, because it's upright, I'm not actually going to lose any. So I'm pain in the ass to take off. Maybe I should try it with a plastic cup when I'm winding it off. I've seen that on TikTok a few times. But this new one, I can just fill it right up to the top. So we've got the filter there filled up. Give it another wipe, make sure there's nothing sat on the mating face. Threads are clean. This should. Also the oil O-ring there, it's got a bit of oil on there as well to lubricate it as it goes up. What I'm going to do is spin it up. So we've done a basic oil and filter change, no service really. We'll mark this as the start of modifications, I guess. I'm going to do some digging about the sump. Yeah, and see where we end up. Versus the Twingo, which was, what, 304 brake per tonne? That was 1,000 kilos. To get anywhere near the performance out of this versus the Twingo, just for straight line speed, I'd need in excess of 360 brake horsepower out of this to match it. Just because this is 200 and something kilos heavier, so I don't think we're going to get that, to be honest. I'd like to aim for 240, 250 brake just to pick its heels up a little bit. Could even look at the route of going for a hybrid turbo on there, something off another model maybe. I'm not sure how the gearbox works and integrates with the engine ECU. A lot of the Duke boys in the States go for big turbos and they rev them out to 7,500 RPM, but the gearbox on this shifts at about 6,300 RPM. I'm not sure if you can sort of adjust that at all, but yeah, I'll do some digging everywhere and we'll go from there. Anyway, I'll get it back off the stand, drop it on the floor and go take it for a test drive. So here we are again, back in yet another car. The Porsche's gone, the Twingo went last year. As you've probably just seen, we've just done an oil and filter change. I did plan on doing a few extra bits and bobs, but time was against me. I need to have a look at a new sump, either through Renault or Nissan. I'm sure you can get them through both. I need to double check some drawings to see where I can fill the gearbox oil up, because I can see where to empty it, I just can't see where to put it back in. I'll order a set of spark plugs and hopefully then we can start messing around with it. So yeah, we're in a red Clio Mark IV RS EDC turbo yada yada, but back in a Renault Sport. I always seem to come back to them, and to be fair, this is a great car. I've had it nearly 2 months now. Ooh, S1 Elise. Yeah, I've had it nearly 2 months now. I've been daily driving it, same as I do with all my cars. It's a great car actually, to be fair. Lacking a little bit of punch and power, but I think that may be more me, used to having a fair chunk more in the old Twingo and old Clios and stuff with superchargers and turbos on. So even though it's turbocharged, it's meant to be 197 horsepower, 170 something foot-pound of torque. It goes well enough. We're driving around in auto mode at the moment, so it just does its thing as if it was automatic. You can switch it over to Renault Sport mode and it quickens up all the gear changes, sharpens the throttle. I think it sharpens something on the steering as well, and makes it a good laugh to drive, and you can take over with the paddles whenever you want. To be fair, it's like a 2-in-1 car, almost a 3-in-1 car. You can poodle it to the shops and back, no issues at all, but you can have a laugh on the back roads if you want. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with this one. It's probably one of the newest cars I've ever owned actually. It's it's a 15 plate, it's a mid 15 plate one. It's still got the touch smaller turbocharger on it, a HM turbocharger versus a HL, which the later ones got, and all the trophies had. The phase 1 trophies also had the HL turbo, and I think they had 220 brake from factory, or just around there. They seem to map up quite well. The only thing I have noticed is, as you know, I like to log and check things, and it's not exactly hot outside. We're talking 22 degrees, but you'll get a good pull on it, good few runs at high boost or on boost, and then immediately you'll start to feel, it'll feel flatter, as if you're driving on a hot day. Anyone who has a turbocharged car knows the difference. But yeah, the temps climb, the inlet temps climb massively quite quickly. Ambient can be about 20-22, and we can quite easily go over 50 to near 60 degrees inlet temps, which says to me the intercooling on this car is absolutely fucking shocking from factory. I did have a look into it. The race cars, I think they started fitting water sprays to the intercoolers, because they use these in the Cup, the Mark IV Cup. I don't think they introduced the Mark V Cup to the UK, but there is a Mark V Cup. It's a 1.3 turbo. But the Mark IVs, I think they started adding intercooler water sprays, and a lot of the privateered ones now have big front mounts on it instead of the stock location intercooler. So yeah, that's first on my agenda to address, is an intercooler. It's not going to gain me any power, it's just going to gain me repeatability, I guess, and the ability to keep constant power rather than it starting to die off. I'd like to get a few track days in. I don't want to be backing off all the time because the car's intakes are getting massively high. Other than that, as you saw underneath the car, it's had a second resonator delete. I think it's more for noise. I don't think it's done anything to the performance, because there's 2 catalytic converters on this, one in the downpipe and then a front catalytic converter. I think most of the people with these Clios remove the second cat and can still just pass emissions. Over in the States they all remove the first cat. I can see the first cat being more restrictive and people just being lazy over here as to actually using it and trying it out. So if we stay with the stock frame turbo, I'll probably go for a D-cat downpipe, leave the second cat in with the hopes that it will pass emissions, and then we can look at maps. We're putting an intercooler on there. I've got an enclosed air filter in a carbon fibre box, which I showed you earlier. I'd like to change that out to a open filter further to closer to the front of the car and get some air to it. But we all know that cold air induction kits on turbocharged cars are very negligible as to giving you any extra power. It's all in the intercooling really, because at the end of the day, a couple of degrees higher or lower on the intake, when it's chucking it out in excess of 150 plus degrees, it's going to do diddly squat. So yeah, other than that, the Cook Sport springs on here on the stock shocks, absolutely amazing. It's dropped the car a nice little bit. It doesn't look like it's got massive arches. Other plans for it, I think I want to swap out from the 205 tyres. All of these are knackered and been curbed, to 225 wide tyres. So we'll swap out to a 225 40/18, which will give me a bit of rim protection and a little bit more rubber on the road. But yeah, other than that, absolutely fantastic car. A lot of people hated this when it was released. I don't know what the problem is. I think they just want a more involving, screaming drive. If you're a Renault Sport owner and have had lots of them growing up through your 20s and hit your 30s and you're nearing 40 like me, it's a perfect compromise. I would have maybe looked at a Megane. I'm not flush enough for a Meg 4, but Meg 3s, the only issue is they don't have 4 doors. I kind of wanted something that I could get everybody in when I needed. It's 4 doors, it's got big boot space on it. It's actually bigger and more spacious than our Fabia VRS. But yeah, great car all round. So I will be blogging a little bit about it, trying some different things on it. I will do it the PMT 80 spec driveway way, rather than just buying absolutely everything that you can. I'll be searching for bits and bobs I can find on eBay secondhand, as you do. Need to do a bit more research into the ECU side of things and how that works, especially with the gearbox. But yeah, this is the first introduction to it. I've already started timing it 60 to 100. We all know that I like timing things 60 to 100 because it's a decent leveler for how fast the cars can go. The old Twingo, we used to do 4.5 seconds at 60 to 100 mile an hour, which was 911 turbo territory, you know, dispatch most things, most high-end stuff as well. This, the best I've got is a 9.8 so far, so it's nearly twice as slow. It averages at about 10.2. Again, you do one pull, then next thing you know, it's taking 11 and 12 seconds to get from 60 to 100. So again, showing the drop off in performance from having a poor intercooler on it. Basically, it's probably a cost saving thing. It's all Renault, Nissan. Again, the Dukes, where I've been looking for a lot of inspiration in the States, they ripped the stock intercooler straight off, put a big cheap Chinese one on the front, and boost all day long with no issues. But yeah, anyway, welcome to the car, and I'll be updating again soon. Thanks very much.